leaves the DDA. This is best practice and will better, this is a best practice and will better equip the DDA to handle future changes. This also satisfies the Main Street Accreditation Program's requirements for a succession plan. Having another more experienced full-time person on the DDA staff will allow for sharing of responsibilities among the staff and cross-training to cover various DDA matters when the executive director is occupied with lumberyard matters, on vacation, or otherwise unavailable. The $71,000 cost of this proposition is entirely covered by elimination of the contract services from marketing consulting company, $35,000, and event coordinator position, $36,000. And this position will have primary responsibility to cover the services formerly provided by these two roles. Fourth thing here, to increase the compensation for the executive director position. Through the hiring process, we have determined that an increased executive director compensation is necessary to bring compensation for this position up to market and properly staff the DDA. In addition, by hiring an executive director with substantial development and legal experience, we believe the DDA will save on both legal costs and the cost of otherwise hiring a project manager for the lumberyard project. The DDA had previously resolved to increase the compensation for the executive director to $75,000. In light of the above, the DDA resolved to raise this compensation to $80,000 per year. The DDA has already approved budget changes to adequately cover these positions. However, at a high level, one, as discussed above, the assistant executive director will be covered by elimination of the marketing contract and events coordination position, and increase in compensation for executive director will be paid for primarily by reduction of additional marketing and legal contract services. As further mentioned above, the DDA believes this restructuring will save significant costs to DDA from outside services and allow the underlying tasks to be better served by an internal person as compared to a third party. This is particularly true as to the marketing needs of the DDA and development of the lumberyard as discussed above. The recommended hires are experienced in the appropriate areas to perform these duties properly. Also, note also that each of Matt Gibbs and Janet Bloom, Matt Gibbs will be the executive director, and Janet Bloom, the assistant director, have indicated they would decline village benefits, which will entitle them each to a $6,000 stipend payment pursuant to the village's benefit plan. So the first resolution, to hire Matt Gibbs as executive director at a salary of $80,000 per year. Do I read these things off like this, or do I make these resolutions?
I would probably do the motions.
Motions?
Yeah.
Okay. So can we have motions for the positions we had mentioned?
So moved.
I think it might be good on the DDA staffing report, Sam, and that's on page 119, to read the background information, and then that will lead us into motion
Page
1.
119, okay. Yes. Yeah, right there, yeah. So then, the former Lake Orion Executive Director, Marla Alone, vacated the role on December 15th, 2023. An interim Executive Director, Janet Bloom, was brought on in December 11th, 2023, and currently works at this capacity. The position was posted on multiple sites, and an executive search committee was formed. Interviews of candidates will have been conducted. So we have several recommended motions.
I'll make a motion to hire Matt Gibb as DDA Executive Director with compensation package. I'm not done with the motion yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
With a compensation package of $80,000, and to authorize DDA Board Chair Debbie Burgess to make decisions on behalf of the DDA Board for the hiring process.
Now second.
Let's do a roll call.
Roll call for certain.
Yes. Coe,
Yes.
Laurent,
Yes.
Caruso,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Narsch.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I will make a motion to hire Janet Bloom as DDA Assistant Director with compensation package of $71,000, and to authorize DDA Board Chair Debbie Burgess to make decisions on behalf of the DDA Board for the hiring process.
Second.
Okay. Narsch,
Yeah, also in motion number 2 is to present the candidate and compensation package to Lake Orion Village Council.
That's a
We were gonna
separate
do that as
motion.
a separate
Separate
motion.
motion?
Yes.
That's motion 3. I've got
Yes.
a different,
Yeah, we had to
I've
change
got a
it.
different form.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Changed it a bit, sorry, Joey.
Okay. Laurent,
Yes.
Caruso,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Coe,
Yes.
Medina. Yes. Motion carries. Now motion 3.
To present the candidate and compensation package to the Lake Orion Village Council on March 11th, 2024 for review.
Support.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. So now go back to here. We kind of got, okay, here we go. So we have
Do you
those.
want to get
Janet?
Janet
Yes.
or?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
No.
You're out of timeout now, Janet. Just in time for reports,
Yes, you're up for,
we'll have the executive director report from Ms. Janet Bloom.
Okay, thank you. So, let me see here, get my stuff all in order. So, first of all, congratulations. We got our Main Street assessment, we passed. I know that they'll be doing a presentation to the village council as well. And so we'll have more information on that, but congrats for going through that process. And they were very impressed with the support that came forward for the DDA, and so it was good to share that information. There was a lot of good information that also came out as far as moving forward for 2024. So I'll be working on pulling that information together and getting that out to the board as well. Excuse me, and our committees. And a few things that were in the, sorry, let me take a quick drink of water, I apologize. Oops. So a few things that were in the director's report, I just wanted to kind of mention. So again, we did get an award for the MDA with the Certificate of Proclamation for the Lake Orion DDA. Again, the Michigan Downtown Association is recognizing the DDA for its events and activities and educational campaign to inform regarding a land acquisition project and promoted the purpose and project and importance of that to the DDA. And so that is actually, we received the award of a 2023 MDA Best Educational and Promotional Campaign for the Lake Orion Educational Campaign. Kind of felt like I went around my elbow to get to my thumb on that one. So with that, they are actually using the information that was gathered as far as what is a DDA, and using that detail across the state, actually, just because the way it was put together, it was something that other DDAs can use for their individual locations as well. So the MDA wanted to recognize the work that the committees and the different groups and the supporters came forward to do. So again, just wanted to let everybody know that. You know, it was in the director's report. And then also keep in mind, April 26th is the deadline for the awards for Oakland County Main Street America. And I know that we have some ideas in mind as far as that coming forward. Looking at the work that we have maybe with the Stronger Together campaign. So there's some additional ones that we can look at, but certainly know that we'll be reaching out and getting your comments and feedback on that as well, and also with our committees.
Do we have the date on that? Did I just miss it, or do we have the date for that?
So the actual event is going to be June 6th, 2024. So add that to your calendars. And don't forget, we also have the March 19th is the morning meeting at Oakland County Executive Building. And that's just, again, inviting our board and staff to go and listen to what Main Street's doing. They want to get our feedback as far as how they're supporting the DDAs and what we need them to do. So just really kind of a coming together and sharing best practices and what we can do moving forward. Also in there was the development training strategy, and so part of that is for the redevelopment ready community program. So with that, we will be scheduling board training, and that will be our component of the RRC program. So just know that that's something that we have discussed with one of our committees to get that scheduled. We'll be updating the board packets as well, and they'll be working on doing the board training and getting that scheduled probably in spring. At your tables, I also gave you the January 2024 meeting notes. Again, sorry that didn't get to the board packet itself, but just real quick, so we did have, met with our Canoe Circle Graphics that we work with Orion Living Magazine. Also, she's our graphic designer. On the 4th, connected with MSOC, and then also the Orion Review with Roger Green. January 5th, we reviewed the Lumberyard Tour. January 8th, we met with our landlord for our location, and just a heads up, that lease is due June 30th, so we'll have to renegotiate that. We also had the MPS parking meeting. There were 2 meetings that were held in January on that, and again, the idea is that we are reaching out to our businesses in downtown to understand their thoughts and opinions of doing paid parking in downtown, and also getting their ideas as well. So we'll be working on getting that pulled together. Obviously, our regular committee meetings and our board meetings and special meetings. I do owe minutes for each of those, so I'll work on getting those out as well, and probably be included in our next board packet. There are tasks that will be tackled between now and then, just FYI. So for January 23rd, we had an internal village management team meeting, and that's a monthly meeting that happens. Also monthly development meetings, just again to kind of just check on what current developments are out there, and if there's any issues that need to be discussed, and also just get everybody on the same page. January 29th was Main Street OC Main Streets, and that is the shopping program that some of our businesses have signed on to. Of all things, we do have one business that is actually the top in the county as far as the sales with that program, and we spoke with him, and he is open to do training with other businesses within Oakland County to kind of show them best practices and what's worked for him. And so we're excited about continuing that. Oakland County is also adding additional marketing dollars that will help support this program, and there's going to be, again, another push to try to work with our merchants to sign up for that program. January 30th, for the dumpster bid, we did do a site visit with our contractors. After those conversations, we did decide to push that out as we're doing some more fact finding, and in fact I found more information today on that. So we have that slated to revisit for next week. And again, there are 4 property lines that we're looking at, so we just want to make sure that we know which ones that we're dealing with, making sure that we avoid any of the utilities that are underground. So again, we have our work cut out with us to make that happen moving forward. And then we landed with our special meeting for the budget on January 30th. So continuing on, a few more items to share. So we also have, I did speak to our hazmat group for the Lumberyard project, and with that, unfortunately, they had a bit of a delay, personal situation that happened. He's currently in North Carolina this week. He does plan to visit us next week to do those samples. He's going to do his best to kind of ramp up and do that and finish it as quickly as possible. So again, our initial thought was it was going to be completed with the reports by end of February, but he'll be on site at the end of February, so I'll keep you apprised as far as that timeline. Also, we have received word that we have a new business in town. So Keller Williams is moving into the former Nuts About Chocolate location. And that's 59 South Broadway. And so if you get a chance, be sure to stop by, introduce yourself. And we also have a business move that happened as well, and that was very quickly over one weekend. And Broadway Embroidery moving across the street and up next to Green Hippo. And we also added on our website, for some reason we didn't have that listed on there, but we have now added the former location, and that is on our website as an open location for people to see as far as open properties that are in downtown. So if you hear of any that are open, that we can get a photo of the location, contact information, the size, whatever, square footage, whatever we can get for that property, and the contact number, we can list it on our website now, and we can direct people to that location. Yes.
Do we have the two places, or how, I don't know how many spots there are, next to the American Legion? Is
So-
that listed on there?
So it's my understanding those are actually already slated for businesses.
Oh, I
Yep.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so waiting for more detail on that, but that's my understanding. When I get more confirmation, I'd be happy to share that, yeah. Okay, so we have, let's see. Talk about the e-commerce. There is conversation that's going to be starting regarding the MDOT property that borders in between the trail and the lumberyard project. And we're just kind of doing some fact finding on that to see what their intention is with that property, and if that's something that can be incorporated in some way within the lumberyard property. I want to say it was almost like 1.5 acres, 2 acres.
Yeah, 1.6.
So as we have more information, we'll be able to share that. And we're waiting on that initial meeting with MDOT to see what can happen. Currently, nothing is going on with that property, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, how they had stated that property was called currently.
Like a drainage or like a
It's like a drain, yeah.
It was originally drainage retention
Yeah.
for the lumberyard, kind of
Got it.
what, it's
Got it.
been there for, right, 30-plus years, just kind of fenced off and vacant, so I think that's a great plan, to look at that and see how we can, I don't know if it has to be that size, and I don't know how we can possibly partner with them to use that and incorporate it into the project.
At least I think it'd be helpful if they just cleaned it out.
Yeah, well, for sure.
I mean, it probably hasn't been touched in 30 years.
Yes. Absolutely.
Needs a haircut. At least.
And so we did have our Ice Fest event. Never would have imagined it would have been 62 degrees the day before the Ice Fest. And that put us a little bit behind. I know we had some comments on social media, and our ice carver, it was 2 of them on site, and they were doing their best to get everything out the morning of. Usually you try to deliver the day before and get everything staged. So things started a little bit late, but we were able to get families downtown. We had some great kids activities and games going on. We activated the Flint Alley location, had some costume characters that were around, and everybody taking in the ice sculptures that were throughout the downtown. So thank you to those that sent some additional ideas and information that we could do for next year for the Ice Fest. I think the biggest challenge, and many communities have felt that this year especially, was the weather not cooperating. So it always breaks your heart when day of, we even had one of the blocks unfortunately fall over just due to the warmth, and it was really, luckily the temperatures got cooler during the day, but it was a struggle. It was a struggle this year, yes.
You know, I walked it with some friends, and it was interesting on how many people were downtown, just walking, looking at all of them. Yeah, one fell over, okay, but there was some great stuff, and I thought it was terrific.
Thank you, thank you. Well, and it's a credit to those businesses that came out and support and purchase the ice block. So our thanks goes to them and also our sponsors for that day as well.
It definitely cooled off that night, because I was walking around myself for a little bit with no hat on. With my lack of hair, it was not a good day to walk around with no hat on.
And thank you also goes to Oxford for allowing us to go over and kind of poach some of their larger lawn games that we were able to bring in as well. So we thank them too. We have our restaurant week that's coming up, and so we'll have, I think we actually have it up as of today as far as our participating restaurants between Oxford and Lake Orion and the specials that they're offering. We are working as far as getting the trolley, that's still under repair, so we're hoping that we have that in time by Friday and Saturday to be running that during the event. And come down, try a restaurant you haven't been to, try a favorite that you like, but we certainly invite everybody to support the restaurants that are within our downtown.
Are we gonna try and run the trolley for St. Patrick's Day?
We are working on doing that as well. We want to do that as a ticketed event, doing that with Oxford as a Stronger Together event. And so that's currently in the works, yes.
I'm not sure if it's too late or not. I was just reading the copy on Restaurant Week. But we need to make sure that we're incorporating free parking for all of our events downtown, because we all know that it's free around here, but people that may be coming from other areas, they don't know that. And they're paying for parking when they go to Rochester and Pontiac and everything else, but in Lake Orion and Oxford, it's free.
I think it's on our event page, but I can see how it can get a little lost on there. So maybe we just kind of reformat that so it's a little more, catches the eye, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're excited to bring that one. We'll also have the shopping passport coming up in March and letterboxing in April, so just a lot of good things coming up on tap. And we're still looking for sponsors, so for different events that are coming up for 2024, reach out to the DDA office. We are working on soliciting sponsors to help support the events that we provide. And that wraps up our
That's
report
it?
for tonight. Thank you.
Our last report would be the village manager report, but I don't see that he's here, so I guess we can forgo that report. Next would be call the public again. There is no public to be called upon, so we'll, unless, okay. The silent majority's here. Next will be board comments. Want to start to my right with Elena? Or, I'm sorry, with Sally?
Always start.
I'm sorry.
No, I actually really enjoyed joining the Main Street Oakland County event. It was the first time I was able to do that just because of scheduling issues. I feel like it was exciting and, to be able to recap this kind of crazy chaotic year and then, really be energized for like things that we can do moving forward. It was a really great experience for me, so I'm glad that I was able to join it and glad that we got the certification that we needed. I also learned about, because of this moving into this new building, but just that there's some interest from the Main Street Oakland County about the facade of that building. And I never noticed it again before, even though I've been downtown, of course, many, 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 many times. But now I look at it and it's just like deciding, right? And it's just so not downtown Lake Orion. So I definitely am excited that there is interest from them and, want to help lead that charge of figuring out like what's behind that siding and can we remove it? Like what can we do? So that's definitely something I'm going to be looking into as well.
Jerry, do you know what's behind it?
And which building is it again?
The Masonic, so with all the siding,
All that
corner,
siding
Flint,
is on
and
the top? I gotta believe
I,
it's up the
I
tree.
could tell you, but it's secret, and you got to be a part of the club.
there's a picture. We have a picture because where we're living as a vacation sells stuff in our shop, and they've got a picture of the old building. But yeah, definitely don't know what the damage is and why they covered it.
And, I'm trying to think, that's been sided with the existing siding for so many years. But most of the architecture back then was cement block or that cultured block. And I don't know if that's what existed there. But it's interesting. So, but that metal siding has been there, oh man, I'm pushing back to the 80s. And it was there then, so I don't know.
Do you know the reason? Like, was there damage to the building, or was there?
I don't know, because I'm trying to think if that was there when I arrived.
Yeah.
And I got here in 81. And, breakfast, what I had yesterday is hitting me. So, trying to get to 1981, you gotta, I'm scrolling. But as far back as I can recall, that was there. And I don't recall if there was a fire. There was a fire at the old bank vault building next door, and I don't know if that led to that, because I remember eating when it was the original bank vault. I thought it was the salad bar and soup bar was in the actual bank vault. I thought that was kind of cool. Just don't close the door. But they experienced a fire. So, and I don't know if that, I can't recall if that spread next door, and that's why.
Yeah, I guess they had done another Masonic building in Farmington or something, and they just, I don't know, does he work for Oakland County, that guy that they were saying that was like
Yes.
super interested, and that's one of his big projects he wants to work on, but it sounded pretty exciting, so we'll find out more.
Cool.
I'm pretty excited. We had a fun year last year. With all the building that's going on in this community, we should be very pleased to have the kind of, we're able to take away so much of the things that have turned into blight. You talk about the marina, you talk about some of the cottages that have been empty for years and houses. And I can't wait till all that stuff is finished. It's going to be a very exciting year.
And I wanted to ask, so as far as the school that's also going to be under development,
The Eman Center.
yeah, how many years has that been vacant?
Jeez.
That has been vacant for approximately 30 years.
Used on and off.
The last use for it, I was on the board of the Boys and Girls Club. And I remember we met in that building by permission, because it was vacant then, and that was many, many years ago. It was purchased again by a private property from the land bank with an attempt to use mixed use, and that couldn't be attained because school buildings, as you know, can be used as a school, a church, or residential, but, not commercial. And so the purchaser couldn't use it, so it went back to the land bank and has sat ever since. And that's unfortunate, because we are limited on what you can use the school for in a residential area. And this, of course, is the perfect fit. And so I think everybody's excited.
And as of last count, 21 development projects going
Yeah.
in, and over 200 residential units coming online between year 1 through year 3 coming up.
I wanted to thank the interview committee for doing such a fabulous job. Sam, Matt, Lloyd, sorry. I think that you guys came up with a fabulous solution. I am so excited. I want to say I'm extremely excited that Matt Gibb is going to be our new executive director, and very excited that Janet, you will be our assistant director. So I am thoroughly pleased. We have the skills that we need to move the organization forward, but also, most importantly, to tackle the projects that we have before us that are critical for our downtown and very important. So super excited about that. And then I do want to thank Arizona, who's our events person, who unfortunately, her position was eliminated due to this restructuring. But Arizona, you have done an absolutely fabulous job. We know you weren't here very long. You came in November, and you came at a very difficult time as the DDA was, facing the ballot proposal. But Arizona jumped in with both feet and did an amazing job. And we will be giving her great recommendations for any position that she may apply for. So thank you again, Arizona.
Okay. Well, I want to thank the committee, the selection committee. We have, and I know we talk about this all the time, but we have an incredible downtown. And in order to have the type of economic development that we have going on, you need exceptional people to steer that through. I've known Mr. Gibb for many, many years. He was a former township or in-township supervisor. He was an Oakland County Assistant County Executive for Economic Development. He's a practicing attorney who specializes in developments and clients, just exactly what our need is. And this is an individual who just, with his talents alone and his outreach and his phone book, if you will, his connections, is going to be very good for what we have ahead of us. Quite often you'll see comments in the newspaper or online, you know, what is the vision, what's going on, where are we at with our lumberyard project? Well, let's talk about that a second. We always talk about infrastructure, and I was a person that was talking about infrastructure with our DDA before I was on the DDA board, because what a great opportunity to have that extra money brought into our community and held to be used for our infrastructure downtown. We now have north of $170 million of development coming to the village of Lake Orion. And the cool thing about that, the amazing thing is, and good news begs to be shared, and this is a moment to share that. Out of that, there are no tax deferments other than one development, but that was required statutorily to have the funding from the state to assist, and that's the West Development or the old building. And that was a statutory requirement that we do that in order for them to get the funding to move this project along. And again, that sat vacant for 30 years. That was the old rusty car sitting out in front that people saw in Lake Orion, and it's now going to be something shiny and new. But not only that, all of this development meets the criteria of our master plan. It's residential, it's commercial, it's mixed use. And in the process of that $170 million in development, the majority of which is in the DDA district, we have successfully negotiated 75% of the increased tax capture to come back to the village in a special line item account to assist in future infrastructure needs in anywhere within the DDA district. Those are dollars that don't have to come from someplace else. And I think there is a moment where we have to sit back and say, the village of Lake Orion has been recognized. Developers such as the Masheri Development, Mr. Schmidt, who has brought some of his developments here, they didn't come here by accident. They came here because they saw what's happening in our town. And that is a credit not only to the DDA, but to everyone who has supported the village of Lake Orion. So people are coming here because they recognize our value. Our value is growing because those people are coming. And that, in turn, is more people to use water. We talk about our water rates. We talk about water costs. When we get all of that residential in place, more volume is less cost. So these are the types of things that make a community rise. And in order to meet that need, we've got to have people in place. And I think the Matt Gibbs selection certainly will defray some legal costs. It will defray costs of project management, and having Janet Bloom in-house doing marketing and saving and deferring those costs. It didn't cost any more. We just used the money more wisely. And out of that, we are getting the expertise and the ability to manage what is probably the most fruitful blessing of this community since 1859. I can't think of a time where we've had this much use that fit what our intended vision was. And it's really a great time to be in the village of Lake Orion. I mean, go downtown. And going back to the lumberyard, that was one of our biggest infrastructure issues going back 10 years. And if you looked 8 years ago on social media, we were talking about parking decks. $75 million for 72, or $60 million, or $6.5 million for 75 parking spots. It was about $50,000 to $75,000 per spot. We would have lost a gem, an asset in that lower municipal lot or wherever we put that. Now we have 130 plus parking spaces with connective tissue to the downtown, with the potential for the outdoor pavilion, farmers market, and some of the events, not all, but some, that working with our business owners and the DDA we might find would benefit by having it in that property. That is a major piece of infrastructure, and in my mind, the 135 plus parking with connective tissue downtown solves one of our major infrastructure, the parking issue, for the next 20 years. So these are amazing things, they're good things, and we have the right people now in place to manage these things. And going back to the newspaper comments, that what are we doing, what's our vision? I think we as a board have to make sure, and I'm sure Mr. Gibb and Ms. Bloom are going to be on board with that, and communicating publicly, here's the vision for the lumberyard project, here's where we're going to go with that, here's how we're going to get that done, and here's the timeline. I think a large part of the community is excited once they see the potential for that and what it's going to do for our downtown and for our community. So I just think it's probably one of the best times since the beginning to be a part of the Village of Lake Orion, and we're seeing it before our very eyes. So great job by this board and everybody in Lake Orion that contributed.
I also want to congratulate Matt and Janet. I think this is going to be great, but I also want to thank all the other applicants that we interviewed. There were a lot of great people that we interviewed, and so anyways, I want to thank them as well.
Yeah, it was fun being part of the interview process. I've never been involved in a process like that where you can see all these talented people. I mean, it's just amazing how many smart people are out there who apply for the job. I was really, really impressed. But as you stated with Main Street evaluation, it was exciting to see that evaluation. It was a great reminder of what we did, because we went through listed all the things that we did over the past year. Only one or two things were bad, right? The bad thing was a few dumb things that we got through. We handled it, and it made us stronger, made us better together. But I'm telling you, all the things we've done this past year has been really exciting. So that evaluation helped bring to light that we did a lot of great things this past year and conquered some challenges which we got through, which is awesome. That made us stronger as a board, made us stronger as a person individually, and it made me realize that the community is there for us. It was pretty good seeing the support of the community. Yeah, the 21 developments is pretty exciting, Jerry, as you mentioned, all those things. We've got a lot of great things happening in Lake Orion. I'm just excited to be part of this DDA board, and we have a great team. And now we've created a team with Matt, with Mr. Gibbs and Mrs. Bloom. I truly believe, I mean, I've been reading this affirmation myself. I attract the perfect person at the right time. We've attracted the perfect people at the right time in our organization here. We're pretty blessed to have both those two individuals there to be part of our team, to really take us to the forefront, because we've got a great opportunity ahead of us, and now we've got great people in place to make that opportunity even achieve our goals. We were so excited about that. I look forward to working with the council, and looking forward. We're grateful the council supported us during our tough times in the past, which is exciting. Look forward to work with the council and with the village manager and with all of our businesses and leaders. We've got a lot of great things happening in Lake Orion, and the sky's the limit. And I'm really excited to be part of this board, and is grateful that we've obtained these goals that we've looked for, that we set. With that said, a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.